Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Lepcha in Himachal Pradesh to celebrate Diwali with the soldiers. The PM has also shared photos in which he can be seen dressed in military attire, interacting with security personnel. Prime Minister Modi has been visiting military facilities to celebrate Diwali ever since he came to power in 2014. During these visits, he interacts with the military personnel and celebrates the festival with them. This is in fact his 9th Diwali, celebrating with the soldiers. Meanwhile, earlier in the day, Prime Minister Modi had extended his wishes to the people of the country on occasion of Diwali. This is of course the latest that we are tracking for our viewers. You can see the visuals of PM celebrating with the Jawans in Himachal Pradesh. They are on your screens at the moment. Joining us on the broadcast is Colonel V.K. Sahi. He is a 1971 war veteran. Sir, very good afternoon and thank you for joining us on NewsX. PM's tradition to celebrate with the Jawans has been going on for about 9 years now. He's been to different parts along the line of control too. He's been to Rajouri, he's been to Kargil, and during all of this, his focus has been to boost the morale of the Jawans who have made this sacrifice. Even as their families back home are celebrating, they are still standing vigilant on our borders, protecting us. So what do you make of this initiative by the Prime Minister to sort of boost their morale and also engage in the festivities with the Jawans? Colonel Sahi, can you hear me? Sir, can you hear me? Am I audible? There seems to be a connectivity issue. Let's sort out the audio issue. In the meantime, I'd like to take my viewers through what exactly is taking place on ground. Of course, the visuals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi celebrating with the Jawans. You can see it on your screens, viewers. He's interacting with them, sharing the joy, of course, of the festivities, the time when people, of course, are celebrating back home. The families of these Jawans who are probably celebrating, also sharing the joy amongst themselves. While these Jawans cannot be with their families as they are guarding our borders, they are guarding us, protecting us, who can in fact enjoy this time. The Prime Minister has chosen to share this moment with them. Meanwhile, also joining us on the broadcast is Major Mohammad Ali Shah, who's a defence expert. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you for joining us on NewsX. It's the Festival of Lights today. People across the country are celebrating, they're sharing their joy and elation. The Jawans on the border, of course, still remain ever vigilant, and Prime Minister Modi honouring their valour by spending time with them. It's his tradition for the last 9 years to do so. There are visuals that have come from Lepcha in Himachal Pradesh today. So what do you make of all of this?
You know, leadership is always, it comes from top. So our Prime Minister, as a tradition, he celebrates every Diwali with our brave hearts, with our brave soldiers, wherever he can. So most certainly, I'll tell you a small experience in the year 2003, in fact, exactly 20 years back, when I was posted at the line of control and I was just 30 meters away from the Pakistani post. At that time, one of the soldiers from a neighboring post got wounded. And when he was wounded by the enemy fire, the commanding officer of that battalion came there to have a look at him on ground. And suddenly the buzz went around that CO Saab is here, CO Saab aa gaye, CO Saab aa gaye. And this Jawan who was wounded, he suddenly sprung up. He got up on his 2 feet, he saluted the commanding officer and he said, Jai Hind Saab! So that was the josh, the vigor. What happened? What got into him? When he saw the leadership coming there personally to meet and greet him, to check his welfare, to check how he was doing, even though he was wounded so badly. So when the top leadership comes and meets them on ground and sees how they are doing, and they see by themselves, and if you shake a leg with them, it means a lot to them. If you are there, you eat sweets with them, you exchange pleasantries, you tell them, you are our family. It means a lot. There's a quote which says, when you go home, tell them of us and say, for your tomorrow, we gave our today. So, most certainly, when the Prime Minister goes there on ground, it increases the morale of our troops. It conveys a message loud and clear across the borders, across the seven seas. Also, that our Prime Minister is standing there with us, totally with us. He is there because our Jawans, our brave soldiers, our officers, they spend their Diwali away from their families in the most difficult terrain, in the most difficult time, in terrains where it's practically impossible to reach. Impossible. You can be a millionaire, you cannot reach in those places, which our brave Jawans, our brave soldiers, our officers, they endure and they fight against all odds. There's an oath which we take in the army on leadership again, which says, the safety, honor, welfare of your country come first, always and every time. The honor, welfare, and comfort of the men you command comes next. Your own ease, comfort, and safety comes last, always and every time. There's a quote again at almost every war cemetery, every war memorial, I would say, which says, how can a man die better than facing fearful odds for the ashes of his fathers in the temple of his gods? So most certainly, our brave soldiers are to be honored, who spend the most difficult times in the trenches away from their families.
Indeed, and also joining us on the broadcast is the Group Captain V.N. Jha. He's another defence expert, a regular on the channel. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you for speaking with us. Just as Major Shah was saying, Prime Minister Modi's visit is most likely going to boost the morale of the soldiers who are guarding our borders, who are away from their families, who are most likely also celebrating, also taking part in the joyous moments and festivities that are taking place in the country. Of course, recognizing their valor, recognizing their sacrifice in a way. This has been happening, as I've stated earlier, since 2014. Back then, Prime Minister had gone to Siachen. He's also since then been to Sumdo. He's been to Rajouri. He's also been in Naushera and Kargil as well as Longewala. So, and this year he's of course in Himachal Pradesh's Lepcha. We have lovely visuals that we're showing to our viewers of his visits over the years, and the fact that he takes out time to interact with the soldiers, share the joy, share, the sort of this elation during this moment of course, soldiers also enjoying the festivities. So what do you make of this?
Well, wishing you and all your viewers a very happy Diwali. And on that note, PM Modi has been spending his Diwali with our soldiers wherever they are, whichever remote corner they are. And it's a great thing. Just now, Major Ali was telling you all the, flowery words about the pride and honor, valor in armed force that we have. Well, PM Modi has made it a point that right since the day he has taken over as Prime Minister, he takes it he makes it a point of spending his Diwali with the forces, and it gives a lot of information and personal contact like he has got with farmers, with administrator, with entire Indian civilians as well as the armed forces. In that regard, he also spends his time in Diwali with the forces at the frontiers. And that gives him, must be giving a lot of information. When you go yourself and interact with the soldiers in those hard areas, most of the places around the line of control, whether it is LAC or LOC, it is a hard area. The life is pretty hard. We have spent some time at many places, which is far difficult than what we have otherwise. And in those difficult times, as Major Shah was trying to tell you, that we as a unit, in the unity, with the unison, with the soldiers that we have as our subordinates, We try to do everything, we try to enthuse them. And when PM goes there, he enthuses all, the entire corps in that area, corps, brigade, divisions, right till the post where he is spending his time. Everyone gets enthused. And in that process, what happens? This place, Lapcha, I'm not sure whether you have seen it there. Let me explain to you that Lapcha, I have spent a very short time there, long back, long back. It is at that neck of the junctions where Chinese, sometime much earlier, they had intruded in, and it goes up to Chumar. And that particular neck is always a thorny point. Neck of that Chumar intrusion of Chinese is a thorny point. It has been an issue all through. And every now and then we keep on hearing in the news, whether it is overt or covert, that Chinese are trying to make intrusion. They have come inside and spent a week and then gone back. So when he spends now this time at that particular post in Lapcha, he will come to know a lot of things. And those inputs, of course, must have gone to a chief of army staff, the defense minister, the entire council. And when he gets that input, it will make a lot of difference, a lot of significance. When he goes to those areas, he sees the people, how they are spending time, how is their shelter, how is the habitat, how is the post where they are working, what are the inputs from the horse's mouth that he has feedback from them. So what PM gives to the armed forces, we have received a lot from PM Modi after he has taken over as a PM. We at times envy why he was not there as a PM when we were in the forces. Of course, we have retired. Whosoever is in the post, in the chair, in the command right now, they must be feeling very proud of PM Modi coming there. And right from 2014, whether it is Sachin, Amritsar, Lahore, Spiti, Gurez, Harshil, Rajouri, Jaisalmer, Naushera, Kargil, and now Lapcha. It is an honor. It is an honor to have a PM like that who keeps on infusing the armed forces, knowing their difficulties. And it was such a shamble. Armed forces was in such a shamble that when the conflagration happened with the Chinese in 2020, 2019, 2020, we didn't have the assault rifles of the type that is required. We didn't have the bulletproof jacket. We didn't have the habitat, housing in those difficult areas where one can be comfortable. So all these things have come after that conflagration. Lakhs and lakhs of bulletproof vests, habitat, the facilities on those areas, roads extending to the last post. All these we have seen. Recently, I had visited Tawan. There, the forces were telling me the same thing. Sir, I feel so honored. We, entire armed forces, feel so honored that while going to the last post of that Tawan, on that Bumla, the road is such a beautiful that you have pleasure of driving there. All these were the dreams of the people for the decades that we have spent in those areas. So it's a great honor to have PM like PM Modi, and it is a great thing that he chooses to go to those areas where Jawans are there, whether it is Army or ITBP or DSF, whosoever are there, the military or paramilitary. It's an honor, it's a pleasure for everyone there.
Indeed, and it can be seen on the faces of the Jawans that he interacts with, that he speaks to every year. And I'd like to rope in Colonel Sahi back into the discussion, viewers. As I was telling you, he is a 1971 war veteran. Sir, I hope your audio connection has been sorted right now and you're able to hear me.
I can hear you very well. Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir, absolutely, perfectly. So we're of course discussing the Prime Minister spending time with these Jawans. There are some lovely visuals from 2019 that we're showing our viewers. He's feeding the Jawans sweets. He's distributing sweets, and now of course he's in Himachal today. It's his standing tradition since 2014. I've stated earlier that he's been to different places along the LOC as well as the LAC, and has taken out time to recognize the sacrifices of these soldiers, many of whom have families back home who are also celebrating. So what do you make of this and the moments that the PM is sharing with these Jawans at the border?
I, first of all, want to wish a happy Deepavali to all the listeners, all the viewers, and to all the armed forces who are committed into defense of the nation. I am reminded of जब देश में थी दिवाली, वो खेल रहे थे होली, and it is true, we have had ceasefire violations in the Jammu region. We lost a Jawan day before yesterday. We lost one a week back. So that Home Ka Holi is still on. Coming down to our Honorable Prime Minister's visit, I'm elated, feel proud to have a PM who takes pains to spend Deepavali with troops into the border areas. He has been doing it. He is doing it, and he has done it. Even today, he is with troops. It is a morale booster. It's a great honor. At the same time, I want to remind the nation, whole nation, to Yatha Raja Tatha Praja, learn that from the Prime Minister. Shall I say that a nation which does not care for the war widows, the Veer Naris, a nation which does not carry on their shoulders the war wounded and the war handicapped, and a nation which does not appropriately honor its war decorated and those survivors of the wars who are honored officially by the government, our brave soldiers, Param Veer Chakras, Veer Chakras, Veer Chakras, Shaurya Chakras, and others. A nation who fails into these three aspects will not have a very clear conscience.
Yes, sir. Sir, can you hear me? There seems to be an audio connectivity issue at your end. We'll just get that sorted out. In the meantime, of course, all the defense experts on the panel, yes, sir, you're back. You may go ahead.
The spirit of the Prime Minister must trickle down to the bureaucracy. It must trickle down to the administration, down to the districts. I am speaking from J&K. Veer Naris, that is the war widows, are the least paid comparing to the country in this part. The war decorated are paid about 25% of what other states and union territories give to their warriors in the rest of the country. Now, these anomalies have to be removed. This discrimination has to be removed. And as we know, J&K was for a long time having a separate status and a separate constitution. And the governments, local governments, got away with it. But now, after 370 has been removed, in letter and spirit, J&K is as good, as much part of the whole nation. Why this discrimination? So these anomalies have to be removed. Prime Minister's good spirit, honorable step must trickle down. The bureaucracy should wake up to it. The local administration should wake up to it. As regarding the soldiers are concerned, as a veteran soldier now in my 80s, I convey our spirit will remain the same. If tomorrow there is a war and there is a need, me at my age, I'm ready to join troops and be on the front line. So is every soldier of Indian Army. We love our nation, we respect our nation for the sake of Bharat Mata. We have taken an oath when we joined service, and in Army, in Air Force, in Navy, there is no ceremony when you break away from that oath. So whether in uniform or out of uniform, we are wedded to a soldier's life. We are embedded into that life, and to the last breath, our spirit to the nation, our spirit to defend the nation, our spirit to fight for the nation will remain. As regards sacrifices are concerned, so many sacrifices have been made, especially I am talking of my region, Jammu and Kashmir. 47 onwards, so many Indians from all over the country came and made supreme sacrifices. We don't have a war memorial in Kashmir for them. Unfortunately, we have a war memorial for the militants there. There is a need to have a soldiers' war memorial of the Indian Army, Air Force, Navy personnel, very few from the Navy, mainly Army personnel from Kerala, from Guwahati, from Orissa, from Rajasthan, from all parts of the country who made supreme sacrifices saving Kashmir. Kashmir should have a war memorial for them. Now that the Prime Minister has his troops, I want to, through your channel, convey to him, let Kashmir have a war memorial where every Indian who sacrificed for the sake of Kashmir is honorably listed. This will also boost the integration, because the families from all over the country would like to come to Kashmir to pay homage to their kins who made supreme sacrifice for the sake of Kashmir. It will also boost such nationalist tourism, which is the call of the day. It will also create a better sample, a better role model for the youth of Kashmir when they see soldiers being honored in a war memorial and wreaths being laid, flowers being offered.
Indeed.
Whenever there are military days, Republic days, Independence Day.
Indeed, and one quick short word, sir, last word to Major Shah before we take this discussion forward.
Thank you, Pia. I just want to say one last thing, which is a message to the entire country.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
I don't know why your PCR had put me on mute. Anyhow, so one small last word for the whole nation, that you celebrated festivals with lights, music, fireworks, firecrackers on festivals. Well, my soldiers celebrated festivals in underground bunkers and underground trenches, and they are playing with their lives. So with that note, and I really appreciate our Prime Minister going there and boosting their morale. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.